Greetings, Marsh here, and welcome to episode 287 of my modded Factorio playthrough. In this episode, we are going to work on our lithium accumulators. Enjoy. We want our high capacity accumulators on the outside, and then we will do the plate choppers in the middle. For the second tier, we need to chop up the steel, and then it'll be all speeds for these ones here. Then the input is slow for the input, and then kind of fast for the output, probably a blue inserter. So yellow going in, then blue going out. It's nice to see things happening again. So it requested sulfuric acid, so does that mean we are going to be making some more? Yeah. Keeping it topped up. Running through our gas, running through our sulfur. Yeah, seems fine. Let's put some poles in there. Get rid of the flashing. This is such a weird place to build something, but oh well. Will it be coming from above or below? I still kind of want to leave this space open in case we want to make more machines. There's not much space here, but I'm pretty sure this will actually be enough. So, yep, and no more batteries because it's gone. Are we crystallizing stuff now? A little bit. Oh, forgot to set up the capture of the chrome and the tungsten. So what this means is it's going to go through the bus, make it to the end, and you can see how we've got some junk back here. That's not that big a deal right now, but I do kind of want to fix it, because it's just going to be more and more resources that we're going to have to move later, the longer we wait to fix it. So if it's coming along on a belt here, we can just kind of grab it. So which belt is it? Looks like it's this one snaking around. Okay, let's do some supply depots. Guess we'll just put them right next to the sides here. And cut it off for now. Let's do something like that, where the output on the left can be the tungsten, the output on the right will be the chrome, if we ever make any. And then we need some riders to turn these depots on and off based on the status of the resource. So this one needs to have tungsten, let's say more than 1,000 before it turns on. And this one needs to have more than 1,000 of chrome. Oh wow, got a nice little backup. So we're actually producing a meaningful amount of cobalt now. So that'll grab what we need, put it in there. Cobalt will move on its way. I suppose we should have a trash logic in our character's inventory for this, but I also kind of don't really care that much about it. Let's see, is some of this still getting through, or do we get the last little bit? It's still kind of going through. Okay. I will let it go through then. That's making so many sulfuric acid requests. It's actually possible making both of those batteries, oops, at the same time is beyond the capacity of the train. So many batteries. Let's see, why isn't this running? I guess just lack of resources. Yeah, pretty much. But there's only so much of this plastic here. And we could make that a blue belt, I suppose, but I don't know if it's really going to matter, because we certainly can't make plastic at 45 a second. We can't even make it at 30 a second. I'm pretty sure it's a 15 a second resource. So I don't think we necessarily need to upgrade it right now. And this is kind of a unique situation where we're going to make a ton of batteries all at once and then we're going to stop. So I think we can just let it kind of do its thing. And it seems to be holding up on the acid just fine. Okay, well, we are going to be collecting tungsten and chrome. Also, it's possible that we're going to be using plastic so fast that we can't actually keep up with it with our natural method here. And that's fine. We've been surviving solely on making plastic from algae, but at some point we might need to switch over to a different method. We haven't really needed plastic in particularly large quantities before, and we kind of still don't. We're just building up a buffer right now, but let's see, are the input inserters there? Looks like I took them out. And we don't have reds anymore, so... Oh, there was a biter orb in there. Makes sense, there were biters here a while ago. Let's do the long-handed right there. And there's some over there as well. So we're back to using these warehouses again. So get rid of the biter stuff. Okay. The biters are creating landfill. The gathering turrets not gathering. I did pick them all up and place them back down, and it seems like that works while you're playing. And it's like, then it stops when you load a save or something like that. So it's very weird how they're kind of glitched out. But request depots. One is asking for that chrome, and just put a single drone in there because it's not like we're going to make very much of this. And then one asking for the tungsten as well. And it doesn't really matter about throughput here, so we'll just kind of mash them in there. So the fuel truck is coming from somewhere. Looks like, no, that's not it. Well, it's somewhere. There it is. It has a ways to go. But we've done enough at this point where I'm pretty confident that it's going to work. Let's see, we do kind of have an error of tungsten showing up here on our ore bus. And we can fix that. It's kind of weird how we would do it, but we can. First, we need to find out where that GUI combinator actually is. And I suppose this is a good use of the factory search here. So it would be, which one here? Would be the HUD combinator. I guess it would be entity. Man, it really searches your factory when you do this. It really lags. So there we go. We've got our 3 of them. And it's right there. So that is a pretty neat mod, I will have to admit. Oh, I thought it was over there, but I guess not. It's actually over here. Okay, you got me. That's a pretty cool mod. Alright. So we have all of our signals here, but we can filter them. So I wonder if it's if we filter it and then it won't show up. Because that would be only changing one thing rather than changing a bunch. So let's do tungsten. And do on. Oh. Okay, well, it doesn't work that way. Another thing we can do is just remove the tungsten from the signal here. But I'm thinking it will be faster. Just go through here. Although, does doing it with filter, does that sort the signals? Oh, it does. That's actually kind of cool if it would sort it in the order of the menu, or in whatever order you wanted it to be. So I wonder if we could actually sort it either in the order they're being produced or manufactured up here. Or maybe an inverse order. Inverse might make more sense. So we will do iron, copper, lead, tin, and I guess this one would be the manganese, nickel, silicon, aluminum. At least this is relatively fast because you can keep clicking. Zinc, silver, titanium, cobalt, gold, and since we're not actually using the uranium, I guess we can just keep that off the list for now. Just to make it a little simpler. Oh, it didn't keep our order. Oh well. But we got that extra signal out of there, so it's a little easier to read now. And I imagine we're going to run completely out of plastic bars before too long. Which is okay. Seems like this is basically using it as fast as it can. We could potentially upgrade this whole thing, because we have much faster machines than 3s. We have 4s now, and there's no productivity modules in here. And I think this was limited because it's making 30 algae a second, so now that we have the blue belts, we can do 45, but I don't know, it's holding. It's not getting rid of any using these right here. And is it wasting anything here? It is flare stacking away, but it's flare stacking away the mineral oil because it looks like it's just trying to create the fuel oil, which is fine. And there's going to be some glycerol liquid as a result as well. So I think all that is working pretty good. It is nice seeing tiny little bits of cobalt being produced now. So hopefully, if we are patient, we will eventually start to build up some of it. Let's see, is it being sent both directions? No, but that makes sense because it's monopolizing the cobalt. It's picking it up here, not letting it be made into the ingots, which is fine. We'll just wait. And I also did use a supply depot here since the rate of consumption is only about 6 per second of these, that we didn't really need to have a belt, that a single drone could deliver stuff over here. And it's doing all right for now. And I did check the math. This setup consumes sodium hydroxide and then produces salt. And it's basically, it's just borrowing the sodium hydroxide that you can turn it back into salt, and it just keeps going in a circle. It's not actually consuming anything. You can kind of tell that this warehouse is right around 10,000 even though we are consuming it, because it's just being put back in at the same rate. Hopefully that one machine stays fast enough. But it's all working pretty well. I don't want to use up all of our crushed stone with refined concrete, because if we did that, it would start using the slag, and that's much better used for crystallizing into ores. So that's why I'm kind of holding off on the concrete for now. Make sure none of this is getting overfilled. It doesn't look like it. It's all working all right. Okay. So we wanted the resources to come from down below, so we'll come up here. And then the output will simply be single chest, and I imagine it's slow enough to where this would be fine. Let's connect all this together. Set this to our better accumulators. And this one can just be set to everything. Let's say we have a storage of like 50 of them. Okay, and then we had also these other resources. Well, first, we kind of need to reach over. Let's see here. The input rate is fairly slow for some of these other things, but we are going to need our 30 a second of our batteries. And now stack inserters are quite fast, so hopefully just the one will work this time. Pretty much. It's kind of close, but it does, since that's 10.59. We need 30 and we have 3 machines, so technically that will work. So let's say the circuit boards were coming through here. This would be enough. And then the steel would need to come in from somewhere, but we kind of need to have the extra long inserters there. Although we could put the steel on the other side of this belt and have something like this. So we'll put those right there. So steel and circuit boards, batteries will come in there, and then we will need some extra long inserters. Pick up and drop like that. And there we go. To reach out all the way out here, because we need to have storage chests. Because not only do we want to produce more batteries, but we also need somewhere for the existing ones to show up. So they would have to go in there. And I believe that is everything. So then when we go to these ones, it'll be something rather similar. So let's see if we can just kind of reuse what we've got going here. Although don't want to copy the settings from the chest, so we'll do this instead. Copy the wires over. This is also set to anything, so these will make regular accumulators. with the iron plates. So the batteries will come up through there, and then the iron coils and the circuit boards will come up through there. Hopefully all the numbers are the same. They'll get picked in, put in there, and pushed across. So, I think that's good. Let's grab it. It's kind of funny how this is kind of in the logistics zone. So the robots are helping a little bit. But there they go, getting the rest of that. It's nice not having to make huge buffers of resources anymore. Like just having the 50 accumulators is fine. Because robots are handling it now. We're not manually placing things. So let's get this in here. 2 spaces and it fits nicely. Then we just need to get all the resources in. So these batteries will keep coming down. And let's connect the batteries in here. They will make their way down eventually. Okay. I think those are all the resources. Guess we will find out in a second here. First, let's hook up the circuit boards and coils. Okay. And now let's do some of the regular batteries. Seemingly working so far. I kind of want to make sure that these all stop when they're supposed to. We're making accumulators a lot faster than before because 3 per second is actually pretty good. Shouldn't take us long at all to upgrade our factory, but there's our 50. So then with our lithium ions in here, we'll start making the good stuff. Oh yes. And they all stop. Fantastic. Okay, well from here we need a repeatable pattern. We have one that we've been using, which is this right here. And it's been working fine, but it has no space for robots because we built it in a time before we had them. So now we need a pattern which makes use of our new equipment. One is the robots, but the other is actually the substations too. And it doesn't have to be the same size because basically we're going to be replacing all of these. So if they don't happen to be exactly the correct size, that is okay. So to start with, let's do some substations, and actually probably don't want them to be connected to the rest of the network so the accumulators aren't getting filled up for no reason. So there's our square. And what kind of range do we get on our robots? It's kind of hard to tell. Maybe building it right here was not wise, but you can see how if I put it in the middle, there's a little bit of overlap there, which means that there's a little bit of overlap on the top and also on the sides. So if we put one in the middle, that should cover all of this. So now it's time to just start placing a bunch of these. And they would be able to overlap a little bit. So if we put one here, that would overlap there as well. And now we're going to need robots. Because this is going to be a lot of accumulators now in this pattern. And it looks like we have some overlap again, so we'll just overlap on the bottom. So we can just keep coming up there. How does that look? Almost one more line. Something like that. But then we're going to need to get this somewhere in the middle. Is there an exact middle? And does it matter? Let's see here. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11. So technically, yes. So let's confuse the robots by picking a bunch of stuff up. Okay. So, the exact middle, if I've done the math right, should be right there. And robots will be flying through here from time to time. So if they want to park somewhere, let's just give them an immediate place to park. And also a charge pad over here. Okay. So with all of that, is that something we can tile? Let's see here. It's kind of hard to see, but the wires do connect with this last square here. Do they connect on this side? They do. On this side? They do. And up here? They do. So we've got our new pattern here. Let's just come through here, adjust this. With the new setting, we don't need the tiles. And we'll just change this to be blue. And there we go. So now we don't need any of that, so robots can pick them up if they feel like it. We want to be careful not to reduce our accumulator capacity while we're doing this. So we'll want to start building some more, maybe up to 300 gigajoules or something like that. And then from there, we can start replacing the existing setups. And then when we do that, any empty spaces should get filled in with refined concrete. Are we still producing our crystallizer ores here? Well, I do notice that we are using up some crushed stone here. Why is that exactly? Ah, we are making mineralized water because we need to for all of this plastic. And as long as that holds out, that seems a sufficient use of our stone. We do desperately need our cobalt, but at the same time, this is how our plastic is made, so if we're not making plastic in this way, we're not making it at all. And I'd rather not build a new plastic setup right now just for that. Okay, so we've got a little bit of tungsten. 62 pieces. Made it through. Since there's no logistics request for now, we will just drop them in the warehouse and let drones do their thing eventually. So as far as where to start, I'm thinking in the bottom left corner of our base. Oh, doing a solder coil is nice because I believe some zinc can go into that. Let's see here. Yeah. So we've got 2 methods running. I'm not sure. Like this one makes sense because it's zinc. Why was that one running? Probably just had extra resources on the belts and it needed to clear through that. So now we have this zinc one. Oh, I see. It's just topping it off because this can't quite keep up. Which seems odd. It should be able to. Could just be a throughput thing. Yeah. Seems like it. We would be down here somewhere, and here's our initial thing, so I guess we need to clear out the trees. How about to here? Then we gotta get rid of these networks that are in the way. And then start placing these. Maybe in line with this stuff up here. So like right there. It seems like that is one gap of space, so we'll do it like right there. Not really intending on upgrading the size of the solar farm. So we can kind of go with this for now. And it needs to connect. Looks like it doesn't quite reach, so we'll put a connector in there. And how about over here as well? Guess we'll let that fill up and see how much it ends up actually being. So let's see what's going on here. I think it's just flow rate, because this is so close to the maximum here. So let's use a molten metal pump. It's basically a normal pump, but it's moving molten metal. I guess it's a thing. Still seems kind of weird to me, but if it helps the factory, we're doing it. So there we go. That's pushing that up, which should reduce the priority of this side. So this is just using zinc and tin. Oh, one other thing I did between the episodes, besides kind of cleaning this up a little bit and having the lead all together, and then putting gold down here, is a lot simpler. Instead of sending these filter frames down to get fixed and then put back up, I just move the coal instead. It does require that each setup have its own assembling machine for this, but now it's only one belt of coal instead of those 2 belts of resources. So I feel that's a little cleaner than the way that it was. But let's see, this is doing its best to keep up. It's very close to having this other setup pop on, because it's going to go when this hits 80%. But if it occasionally runs, I feel like that's okay. And it would run if either copper is high, which it is, or silver is high, which it isn't. So it's not the end of the world if that runs, because that's also something we need to clear out. But zinc is the bigger problem. It does say 80,000, but that is because we have a bunch of zinc stored in here. And we're at 21,000, so it still has a way to go there to get cleared out. So, how are the robots doing here? Does the network go down that far? It does. It's a little weird because we pulled things out, but they did place them. And those should be, basically, yep, all of our accumulators. And the robot's getting stuck over water. Well, it looks like we have some filter frames left over down there from where the coal filter machine was. So, I mean, that is a place for them to go. Not that we really need them there. That's going to trash my inventory to pick up. But they'll go back to the junk warehouse, and then we'll deal with it later. Because I do want to see how all this works with our energy capacity. I kind of want to see what 50 gigajoules actually looks like with our new accumulators. Guess we could also just kind of calculate it out, because we're going to have 2.2K, and we know each one holds 15. So 2200 times 15 megajoules means that that will do 33 gigajoules, which isn't quite what I was looking for, but not that it's an issue, because now we know we basically need about double this. So when all of that is done, that will have increased it by 50. So then we can attempt to remove about 50 and kind of keep filling up the base until we get to around here. I do want to leave this space open, but this is kind of a weird part of the factory that doesn't have anything there and probably won't, so it's just fine for these accumulators, so we might as well keep doing it. But now we gotta wait that out, and one reason I wanted to start this now was the same reason that I wanted to start concrete early, is because it takes a long time to build all these accumulators and to upgrade the existing ones, because they are going at basically full blast. Let's make sure they're staying on. Well, they are turning off there, which means that maybe that buffer isn't big enough, because now they're waiting for robots to get here. The robots do, and now they turn on again. So what that tells me is, just for the purposes of robots, that we need to have a larger buffer than 50. Hello, train. Good thing it doesn't fly. Okay. So let's set this to 100 then. So let's see if this is capable of running continuously, so we just get the maximum output. Not quite, because robots are on the way. So let's try 200. They are coming in big bursts though, which might be part of this, but ideally we'd want to see a nice stream of them. And honestly, this is kind of a stream, but now it's running out because the robots are coming from over here, so that's that little gap, but it's never going to work perfectly smoothly, but this might be enough because it looks like it's holding out now. Pretty good anyway. Doesn't have to be perfect. And we'll let all these get filled up and charged. It's going to take a while. And that's the end of this episode. On the next one, we will do an overview of getting started on alien science. Thanks for watching. I'll see you later.